Welcome everyone to My Weight World TV. I'm Dr. Brenda MD, and joining me today is Jennifer Ventrelle, a registered dietitian and coordinator of the Rush Nutrition and Wellness Center. She received her bachelor's degree at the University of Illinois in Champaign and her master's in science at Rush University Medical Center. Jennifer works primarily with individuals for weight loss and has created successful weight loss programs using metabolic rate measurements as a tool for effective weight management. Jennifer is also a certified personal trainer and works at various health facilities in the Chicagoland area. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Can we start out with telling me about your weight loss programs at Rush?
Yeah, we have a couple of different weight loss programs, but our most successful weight loss program is called the Measure Up program.
Okay.
And it's structured with three different components: exercise, nutrition, and behavior change.
Okay.
So one of the things that makes our program unique is that we start by measuring people's metabolism. Mm-hmm. That way we know exactly how many calories people need to lose weight. Mm-hmm. And it's a 10-week program. They have the option to come, it's a 10-visit program. They have the option to come once a week or once every other week. But we really encourage that the more frequently they come, the better, because that's really the behavioral piece that's going to help them change. From a nutrition perspective, we try to make sure that their diet is very well balanced. Mm-hmm. Each time they come, they keep a food diary, and we go through their food diary with them and help them with things like meal planning, give them meal suggestions and options. We stress lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, low-fat dairy, and healthy sources of fat, and lean proteins as well. So just coaching them along and continuously looking at their diaries and making sure that they are trying to achieve this healthy, well-balanced diet.
By looking at the diary, you can see if they're cheating. They're supposed to write everything down. They eat, drink, every single thing.
You know, I do encourage them to write most of what they eat down. But I don't want them to sort of look at it as all or nothing. The last thing I want is for someone to think that if they skip a day or skip a meal, they should, you know, throw it out the window. So I just tell them to do their best. Nobody's perfect.
More for educational, though, to show them that where the high caloric foods are and where they're not, and where they've done well, where they have not.
Yeah, it's partially for education purposes so that they can actually pinpoint and target the behaviors that they're doing. But I would say it goes more with the behavioral piece of the program as well, because it helps them be held accountable.
Right.
You're really going to think about what you put in your mouth if you know that you have to write it down.
To look at it, yeah.
And then you have to show it to somebody. Exactly. Right. So each time, the other really important and unique part of our program is that we have them set goals.
Okay.
And we have them set a nutrition goal, an exercise goal, and a behavior goal each time they come, because studies have shown that when you write out the goal and read it frequently, you'll be much more likely to achieve it.
Okay, that's good. Can you tell us about that? You said at the beginning about measuring their metabolism. What's that about, and how do you do that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's important to measure metabolism. It works, it's a small handheld device that we have. It's called indirect calorimetry, and it works by measuring oxygen consumption, which basically means it's a device that's going to measure the volume of oxygen that's breathed in when we breathe, and then the volume of carbon dioxide that's breathed out. And by measuring that exchange, we determine how many calories we burn at rest.
Okay.
The number that it comes up with is called RMR, or resting metabolic rate. And the reason this is so important to do is because a lot of people have gotten themselves in trouble by following diets that put them at a calorie level that's below their resting metabolic rate. And the problem with that is that that's the number of calories you need just to exist, like as if you never got up out of bed throughout the day. So when you begin to consume calories below this level, weight loss initially occurs because you're just the sheer fact that you're creating a calorie deficit, but our bodies are smart. We have great mechanisms that tell us when we're not getting enough, and then our body is kicked into starvation mode. And what that means is that we might even continue to consume that amount of calories that previously allowed us to lose weight, but we would be no longer able to lose weight because our body's in starvation.
So the body slowed down, adjusted to that new caloric rate, and then if you start eating, you're going to you'll gain weight because your metabolism has slowed down.
Exactly. Even by trying the same strategies, time and time again, I hear patients tell me, I'm not eating a lot. I don't understand why I'm not losing weight.
Right.
And a lot of times they're really not. It's just that they've damaged their metabolism, that all it requires is a small amount for them to continue gaining weight.
Before anyone starts dieting, they should have their resting metabolic rate tested.
I highly recommend it, yes, especially if they've been struggling with their weight all their lives.
Going on this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
What does it take to be successful in maintaining a long-term weight loss?
That's
a million-dollar question.
Yeah, and that's a really great question, because I can tell you a lot of things that'll make you drop pounds very quickly, you know, in 2 weeks. But you'll be really angry in a month or 2 months when you gain it all back. So we study a group of people, not me personally, but there's a group of people that are highly studied, and it's called the National Weight Control Registry. The National Weight Control Registry currently has over 5,000 members registered, and it's a group of people. They have lost an average of 66 pounds, and they've kept it off an average of 5.5 years. So this is why we study these people. They must be doing something right if they're able to lose weight and keep it off. And what it all comes back down to is their behaviors. Most of them are keeping a food diary every day, writing down what they eat. They're reducing their calorie intake, not too low, but reduced from what they were previously eating. They are eating breakfast every day. They are watching minimal amounts of television, and they're keeping themselves accountable not only with the food diary, but also by weighing themselves at least once a week to keep themselves aware of their weight. And from my perspective, the biggest thing that they're doing that is so extremely important is that 90% of them are exercising almost an hour on average every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what's motivating these people to be so active? How do they have the time to exercise an hour every day?
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's an average. So usually what I tell my clients is that, you know, the physical activity guidelines came out in 2008, put out by the Department of Health and Human Services, and the guidelines are any physical activity is better than nothing. Okay, so even if they can't get an hour per day, just to maintain their weight, our national guidelines are recommending at least 30 to 60 minutes of moderate intensity activity on most days of the week, just to maintain weight. So, you know, and I tell my patients, it doesn't have to be, you know, change your clothes, get to the gym, spend an hour on the treadmill. You know, it doesn't have to be long and drawn out like that. Moderate intensity activity could be a brisk walk after dinner. There's lots of different ways that you can increase your daily activities. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. You know, park your car further away. If you take a train, get off a stop or two earlier. There's lots of different ways that you can increase your activity. One great measurable way is by using a step counter or a pedometer. Have you seen those? Yeah. It
makes you accountable again, like the diary.
Exactly.
You can look down. Only 1,000 steps today.
Right. You see where you're at. And the other really important thing I tell my patients is that, you know, it's all relative. If you put your step counter on and you're only getting 2,000 steps throughout the day, even though our guidelines say, you know, get 10,000 steps a day, it's an improvement if you go above that 2,000 steps. So I tell people to use 2,000 as sort of their gauge. Wear your pedometer for a week, take the average of how many steps you get in a week, and try to add 2,000 steps to that. And you'd be surprised how quickly you can add that up. You know, take the long way to the bathroom in the middle of your work day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. You know, if you work on the 16th floor, get off at the 14th floor and walk up 2 flights. You'd be surprised how easily you can increase your daily daily walking.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's fantastic. What about these diets, these fad diets? I've read about the cleansing diet or Atkins or the zone diet. You know, help me.
There's a lot of sort of diets out there modifying. You know,
I didn't hear you mention one of them, by the way.
Exactly.
So do they work?
That was purposeful. No, they don't work. You know, there was a new study out published in the New England Journal of Medicine, and it evaluated a lot of those types of diets. You know, do we do low fat? Do we do high protein? Do we do modified protein, modified carbohydrate, low carb? You know, it evaluated a different mixture of all of those. And the results said that everyone lost weight, about the same amount of weight. Right. And you know, it was sort of, okay, well, if no specific diet is going to work for us, for everybody, and then what do we do? What is the solution? And in my opinion, the solution is changing your behaviors forever.
Right.
You have to work hard. You know, anybody that tries to make you believe that a diet is going to make weight loss easy and that it's not going to be something that you're going to have to work at for the rest of your life is lying to you.
Right. You
really have to work hard at it.
Well, I read that article in the New England Journal, and they mentioned a small town in France, right, where they changed the entire town was bought into this, changing their whole society, walking more, you know, right, eating healthy diets.
And it's about, so essentially what they were doing was helping people change their behaviors.
Right.
Structure your environment such that you can achieve those things. You can achieve more physical activity. You can achieve healthier eating habits. You can achieve making it a long-term behavior that you work with in your lifestyle.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, America isn't set up that way. So,
but you can set up your own home.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. If we can't change the macro environment, let's change the micro environment.
Our children, ourselves.
Yeah, and set a good example for your kids. You know, I don't think it's, I get so many clients that say, well, you know, my kids eat unhealthy, so the food's in the house, and then it leads me to be eating unhealthy. And I say, who does the shopping here?
Right.
Who's doing the cooking?
Your 10-year-old out at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. You know, parents have to be a role model. That's the biggest, you know, kind of advice that I could give from a nutrition and activity perspective for pediatrics, because we're seeing so many children now at an obese level. We're seeing even children develop type 2 diabetes, which is extremely rare. And it's secondary to them being so overweight. So I think that if parents take the initiative to model good behaviors, that includes nutrition, that includes exercise, that includes, you know, your daily activities, I think it's going to be really powerful for their children
for many years to come, right? For our whole healthcare system. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. And please tune in again to My Weight World TV so we can help you reach your goals with our community. I'm Dr. Brenda, MD, and thanks for watching.